Hello students, welcome back to Career Power Hyderabad, powered by Adda 24/7. So students, today's session is a section-wise revision, mainly weekly current affairs revision. So in this past 1 week, we have discussed current affairs every day. So today we will have MCQs, and this MCQs will discuss in a section-wise manner like national, international, state news, ranks and reports, important days, miscellaneous news, banking news, economy news. So we'll study all the important current affairs section wise. So this will help you to remember current affairs very effectively. So please be patient. This video is nearly almost 1.5 hours. So this video will revise your entire week current affairs. So follow this video, like this video, share this video with all your friends. So please subscribe our YouTube channel, join the Telegram channel because every day we have the important MCQ sessions every day at 7 p.m. and every Monday we will have this weekly current affairs revision, and also download the Career Power Hyderabad app. We will provide the links in the description as well as comment section. We currently provide coaching for Bank SSC, RRB as well as for SI Constable. So students, let us go into the video, and the first section for today is national news. So we have a lot of national news in this week. So we will study all the important national news. So the first question for today, Amrit Mahotsav Sri Shakti Innovation Challenge. Amrit Mahotsav Sri Shakti Innovation Challenge. So has been launched by which organization in partnership with UN Women in India? So Amrit Mahotsav Sri Shakti Innovation Challenge was launched by which organization in partnership with UN Women? The answer is MyGov. So MyGov, so it is a government portal, My Government portal. So they in collaboration with the UN Women has launched the Sri Shakti Innovation Challenge 2021. Okay, the main aim of the challenge is to encourage technology solutions developed by women entrepreneurs related to women safety and empowerment. So this challenge is to encourage solutions developed by mainly women related to women safety and empowerment. So this initiative will promote Nari Sashактikaran, that is empowerment of women to achieve their full potential, and this is implemented under the multi-partner trust fund of COVID-19. So let us discuss about MyGov. So MyGov, GOV, government, is a citizen-centric platform of Government of India, mainly to connect with the people. So government wants to connect with the people, and people should contribute towards good governance, which was launched in 2014. So this initiative, this platform will bring healthy exchange of ideas between public and government, and ultimate goal for contributing to the socio-economic transformation of the country. So let us discuss about UN Women. So it's a UN special agency mandated to work on gender equality, okay, and to ensure the commitments on gender equality, gender mainstreaming, to translate them into action by the member countries. So UN Women established in 2010, headquarters is in New York. So next question, what is the estimated monetization potential of the National Monetization Pipeline? So National Monetization Pipeline was recently announced by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. What is the estimated potential? So the answer is rupees 6 lakh crore. So 6 lakh crore is expected from this National Monetization Pipeline. So Finance Minister has announced this monetization pipeline. So asset monetization means so providing government assets on lease or rent to some other entity, some mainly private entities. So government properties or public sector properties will be given on rents, on lease to private entities to develop them. So this is called asset monetization. So this National Monetization Pipeline will categorize all the assets, okay, under different classes, and they will be monetized over a period of time. So this pipeline was developed by Niti Aayog in consultation with the infrastructure line ministries. So they are estimating nearly the potential of rupees 6 lakh crore in the next 4 years, that is from financial year 2022 to 2025. And the top 5 sectors which are contributing to this monetization pipeline are roads, railway, power, oil and gas and telecom. Okay, so monetization means only rights are transferred, not ownership. Okay, so this is mainly to create revenue to the government. You will have proper structure for this monetization partnership, proper contract, all these things. So this is the roadmap. So how many crores they are estimating from each department. Okay, so check this table, very very important. So now coming to related to same National Monetization Pipeline launched by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. So this is developed by which organization? We already discussed it is Niti Aayog. So Niti Aayog, National Institute of Transforming India Aayog, they developed this national monetization pipeline. Okay. So next question. So which agency has launched the Forum for Decarbonizing Transport in partnership with the World Resource Institute in India? So which agency has launched the Forum for Decarbonizing Transport in partnership with the World Resource Institute in India? So the answer is, so what is the answer? So in which partnership this decarbonizing transport was launched? It is Niti Aayog again. The answer is Niti Aayog. So Niti Aayog and World Resource Institute, so both of them launched this Forum for Decarbonizing Transport. The main Niti Aayog will be the implementing agency in India, and the main aim of the project is to bring down the GHG, greenhouse gas emissions in Asia. Okay, so it is a part of the NDC Transport Initiative for Asia project. So this NDC Transport Initiative for Asia project is a joint project in China, India, Vietnam. So in these countries, China, India and Vietnam, so a comprehensive approach for decarbonizing transport will be taken place. So let us discuss about World Resource Institute. So it's a global research non-profit making organization which is established in 1982. Okay, they mainly focus on 7 areas: food, forest, water, energy, cities, climate and ocean, and headquartered in Washington DC, USA. So please remember all these points. So let us discuss about Niti Aayog, established 2015, headquartered New Delhi, chairperson Narendra Modi, Prime Minister itself, Vice Chairperson Rajiv Kumar, CEO Amitabh Kant. Remember the static table, very important for all your upcoming examinations. So next, India's first green hydrogen electrolyzer manufacturing unit was established in which city? So India's first green hydrogen electrolyzer manufacturing unit was established in Bengaluru city. Okay, so Ohmium International, so it's a US based company, Ohmium International. So they launched this first green hydrogen electrolyzer unit in Bengaluru. So this factory will make proton exchange membrane hydrogen electrolyzers. So green hydrogen is made from non-fossil sources, whereas blue hydrogen is made from fossil sources. So by making green hydrogen in India itself, we will reduce the imports. This will reduce the cost of production for various products. So this proton exchange membrane hydrogen electrolyzers initially will have capacity of 500 megawatt. They can be expanded up to 2 gigawatt per year. Okay, so this is the main equipment in production of green hydrogen, this PEM hydrogen electrolyzers. So they will convert the renewable energies. They'll use power from renewable energies to convert water. They'll break water into hydrogen and oxygen. Okay, so please remember all these points. The next question. So government has replaced the unmanned aircraft systems rules 2021 with liberalized drone rules 2021. So what is the maximum penalty for violation of these drone rules? What is the maximum penalty? The answer is 1 lakh. So 1 lakh is the answer. So Ministry of Civil Aviation, they released this liberalized drone rules. So earlier in March 2021, they released the unmanned aircraft system rules. So they were very complex, they were very complicating. So government, based on the feedback, they replaced this with the liberalized drone rules. Okay, drone rules. Okay, so according to this rules, we'll see what are the specifications in the rules. So please remember the Ministry of Civil Aviation, new minister Jyotiraditya Sindhe. So now discuss the features of this drone rules. Okay, so the quantum of fee reduced to nominal levels. Okay, so fee for the remote pilot license is now 100 rupees and valid for 10 years. No need of permission for operating drones in green zones, and maximum penalty for violating the rules is 1 lakh. And also a drone promotion council will be set up. So nano and model drones are exempted from type certification, and no restriction for foreign companies in investing in the Indian drone companies. So these are the new features of the liberalized drone rules. So please by heart this, very important. So next important question. Every unorganized worker who registers on the eShram portal will get how many lakh accidental insurance cover? So every unorganized worker who registers on the eShram portal will get how many lakh accidental insurance cover? The answer is 2 lakhs. So eShram portal was recently launched. So based on this eShram portal, so whoever gets registered in this eShram portal will get 2 lakh accidental cover. Okay, so let us discuss the details. So the Ministry of Labour and Employment, they launched this eShram portal to link all the unorganized workers with social security schemes. So the current Minister of Labour and Employment is Bhupendra Yadav. So this portal will link nearly 38 crore unorganized workers in the country. So to provide them benefits of both state and central government. So every unorganized workers who registered on this portal will get 2 lakh accidental insurance. So whereas 2 lakh for death and permanent disability and 1 lakh for partial disability. Okay. So upon registration on this e-Shram portal, everyone will be given a 12-digit unique number. Okay. So they will also create the national database for unorganized workers. So this in this national database, so who are eligible to be unorganized workers? They are construction workers, migrant workers, gig and platform workers, street vendors, domestic workers, agriculture workers and other unorganized workers. Okay, they only come under this portal. Okay, so for this activity, government has allocated nearly 400 crores. So this will be a huge boost for their last mile delivery of services and to bring a common platform for all these unorganized workers. This platform will help a lot. So these are all the features. So please remember, also remember the Minister Bhupendra Yadav. Okay, so next we'll go to the next question. So India has been elected as the member of Council of Administration and Postal Operations Council of the Universal Postal Union. So where is the headquarters of Universal Postal Union? Simple question. So that is why I say you to remember headquarters established in which year for every organization. That is why we provide static GK points. So the headquarters of Universal Postal Union is present in Bern, Switzerland. So in Bern, Switzerland, you will find this Universal Postal Union. So India was elected as a member to both the Council of Administration and Postal Operations Council. So recently the 27th UPU meeting Congress was held in Ivory Coast, and in this meeting India won votes to enter as a member in the South Asia and Oceania region. Okay, so this is about the organization UPU. So UPU generally has 4 units. So they are the Congress, Council of Administration, Postal Operations Council and International Bureau. Elections were held for the Council of Administration and Postal Operations Council, where India was the member of the Council of Administration and Postal Operations Union. So I gave you the details about how the Council of Administration works, how the Postal Operations Council work. You can check this in the PDF. Okay, yesterday only we discussed. So UPU headquarters is in Bern, Switzerland, and UPU was established in 1874, very oldest, one of the oldest organizations of United Nations, by the Treaty of Bern, mainly to coordinate postal policies among the member nations in addition to the worldwide postal system. Okay, so this is about UPU. Now we will go into the next session, international news. Okay, we will see the important international news. So first one, we have 5 to 6 questions in this section. So Cyber Security Multi-Donor Trust Fund was established by which organization? Cyber Security Multi-Donor Trust Fund was established by World Bank. So World Bank has established this Cyber Security Multi-Donor Trust Fund. Okay, so this trust fund was established with the help of 4 countries: Estonia, Japan, Germany and Netherlands. So this is mainly to bring out cyber security development agenda in a systematic manner. This fund will be used to enhance the cyber and digital security capability and capacity in the World Bank member nations, to develop global knowledge, country assessments, technological assistance, capacity building, training and investments in the information and technology. This particular fund will be used. So World Bank headquarters Washington DC, established 1944, President David Malpass. So do remember these points, very very important. So next question, Ismail Sabri Yaqub was appointed as the Prime Minister of which country? So please remember, he is the Prime Minister of Malaysia. So Malaysia's new Prime Minister is Ismail Sabri Yaqub, who replaced the earlier Prime Minister Moinuddin Yassin. So Yassin resigned due to the failure of no confidence motion passed against him, his government. So now Ismail Sabri Yaqub is the new Prime Minister of Malaysia. So his appointment was confirmed by the monarch of Malaysia, Sultan Abdullah Sultan Ahmad Shah. Okay, so Yaqub has a strength of nearly 114 lawmakers in the country. So he is now the new Prime Minister. So Malaysia capital Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia currency Malaysian ringgit. So do remember all these points. Okay, so next question, world's largest and tallest observation wheel is set up in which city? So world's largest tallest observation wheel is set up in United Arab Emirates and the city is Dubai. So in Dubai, the world's tallest observation wheel in Dubai, to be launched on October 21st. So Ain Dubai is now at a height of 250 meters in the Blue Water Island. So earlier record is under the High Roller, which is present in Las Vegas with a height of 167 meters, and now Ain Dubai is the tallest observation wheel at a height of 250 meters. Okay, you can see on the picture that is the Dubai's Ain Dubai. Okay, so you go to Dubai, visit this tallest observation wheel. After you definitely get a good job. Okay, so next question. So which of the following Middle East city has established a specialized court to combat money laundering? So which city in Middle East launched a special court to combat money laundering? Again the answer is Dubai. So Dubai, they launched this special courts for combating money laundering. So this was announced on the directions of Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid, so who is the Vice President and Prime Minister of Dubai. So this is mainly to strengthen the integrity of financial system in the country. So earlier, Executive Office for Anti-Money Laundering and Countering the Financing of Terrorism Office was also launched. So this launch and this particular Dubai courts will coordinate to eliminate the corruption in the country, money laundering in the country, and to strengthen the financial system. So this particular courts were launched. So United Arab Emirates capital Abu Dhabi, currency United Arab Emirates dirham. Okay, so do remember these points. So next, Shared Destiny 2021 is a multinational peacekeeping exercise to be scheduled in September. So which country is hosting this Shared Destiny 2021? So Shared Destiny 2021 is launched by China. So China along with Pakistan, Mongolia, Thailand. So all these 4 countries will participate in this Shared Destiny 2021. It's a first multinational peacekeeping exercise which will be held in Henan province in China. So Henan province in China will where the event will be held. So 1,000 troops will be participated, where they will have interoperability cooperation among the armies. So please remember the static points. China capital Beijing, China currency renminbi. Pakistan capital Islamabad, Pakistan currency Pakistani rupee. Thailand capital Bangkok, Thailand currency baht. Mongolia capital Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia currency Mongolian Tugrik. So please remember all these points, very very important. So now going into state news, we'll see 4 to 5 important state news in this section. So which of the following regions in India has got the highest altitude herbal park? So which region in India has got the high altitude herbal park? It is Uttarakhand itself, but the district is Chamoli. So Chamoli district, Uttarakhand, has got the highest altitude herbal park in Manna village. So Manna village is very close to the Indo-China border. Manna is the last village bordering China, which is adjacent to the Badrinath temple. So this park has nearly 40 species in the high altitude alpine areas of the Himalayan region. Okay, so this park is developed by the research wing of forest department. So land was provided by the Manna 1 Panchayat. Okay, so 40 species almost, many are in the red list. So endangered list of the state biodiversity board and red list of IUCN. So Brahma Kamal is the state flower of Uttarakhand. So this flower is also present in this garden. So okay, so please remember Uttarakhand Governor Babirani Maurya, Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhammi. Okay, so next question, Hisar Airport is renamed after which of the following personalities? Hisar Airport is renamed after which of the following personalities? Maharaja Agrasen. So after Maharaja Agrasen, the Hisar Airport in Haryana was renamed. So Haryana Chief Minister has announced to rename Hisar as Maharaja Agrasen. So Hisar Airport is the domestic airport and first DGCA licensed public aerodrome of Haryana. So this airport will be transformed into international airport by 2024. So let us discuss about Agrasen, who is a legendary Indian king of the Argova, so which is a city of traders. So he is a descendant of the Kusha, who is a son of Lord Ram. He is the 35th generation of the Lord Ram family. So he is a famous personality, Agrasen. So on his name, the Hisar Airport was renamed as Maharaja Agrasen International Airport. So Haryana Governor Bandaru Dattatreya, new governor. So remember, Chief Minister Manohar Lal Khattar. So next, Onam is celebrated in which state? You know the answer. It's very easy. Onam is celebrated in Kerala. So Onam is a 10-day festival, long festival, harvest festival celebrated in Kerala. So on this day, the Vaman Avatar of Lord Vishnu and the homecoming of King Mahabali takes place. Okay, so this year the festival began on August 12th and it was ended on August 23rd. So it's a 10-day festival. Okay, so on the 5th day, an annual boat race will happen in Pathanamthitta district, and the 10th day is celebrated as Onam. So where they offer the Onam Sandhya, a grand feast on this day. So Kerala CM, please remember Pinari Vijayan, and Kerala Governor Arif Muhammad Khan. Okay, so please remember all these points. So next is about Vanchuva festival. So Vanchuva festival is celebrated in which state? So the answer is Assam. In the state of Assam, the Tiwa tribesmen, they celebrate the Vanchuva festival. It's a festival to celebrate the harvest. Okay, so they do singing, dancing, rituals. They appear in their native attires and they celebrate this festival. So mainly it is celebrated by the Tiwa tribe, which is an indigenous tribe, a scheduled tribe in Assam. So they practice Jhum or shifting cultivation. So please remember Assam Governor Jagdish Mukhi, Assam Chief Minister Hemant Biswas Sharma. Okay. So next we will go into appointment news. We have important appointments. Okay. In this section, I think so mostly some very important 8 to 10 appointments are present in this section. So we will see all the important appointments. So who has been appointed as the chairman of the advisory board for banking and financial frauds by the Central Vigilance Commission? So who was appointed as the chairman of the reconstituted advisory board for banking and financial frauds? The answer is T.M. Basin. So T.M. Basin has been appointed by the Central Vigilance Commissioner as the chairman of advisory board for banking and financial fraud. So he will be in this position for 2 years. So he is earlier a veteran, banking veteran, and also a vigilance commissioner. So before to being a vigilance commissioner, he was the chairman and MD of the Indian Bank. So now he will head the advisory board for banking frauds. So this Vigilance Commission, they constituted this board mainly to examine the bank frauds over 50 crores and recommend necessary actions. Okay, so it is headquartered in Delhi. So this committee will recommend the required suggestions for the Central Vigilance Commission. Okay, so please remember all these points. Now we will discuss about Central Vigilance Commission, which is an apex vigilance institution formed by executive resolution in 1964. Later it was given statutory status in 2003 and the current headquarters is in Delhi. Okay, so do remember all these points, and also you can study about all these committee. Okay, so next question, who is appointed as the CEO of BARC India? So CEO of BARC India. So who is the CEO of BARC India? The answer is Nakul Chopra. So Nakul Chopra is the CEO of BARC India, which is Broadcast Audience Research Council. Okay, it is not Baba Atomic Research Center, it is Broadcast Audience Research Council. We already discussed it earlier. Okay, so this Broadcast Audience Research Council, okay, so this is a statistical and measurement science company. Okay, so the company is registered with the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting as a self-regulated not-for-profit industry body, which will provide audience estimates of what India watches to broadcasters, advertisers and advertising agencies. So it will study what India is watching, what people are watching, okay, which show has most prominence, all these things. So established in 2010, headquarters is in Mumbai. Current chairman is Puneet Goenka, now CEO will be Nakul Chopra. So next question, who is the new governor of Manipur? So this personality is from Tamil Nadu, so he is a BJP lead in Tamil Nadu. So who is he appointed as the new governor of Manipur? The answer is La Ganeshan. So La Ganeshan is the governor of Tamil Nadu. Okay, so Najma Heptullah, sorry, not Tamil Nadu. La Ganeshan from Tamil Nadu is the governor of Manipur. So Najma Heptullah, she retired from the post of governor of Manipur. So now La Ganeshan was appointed as the governor of Manipur. So Manipur Chief Minister Biren Singh. So do remember all these points. So next question, who is appointed as the Joint Secretary in Ministry of Cooperation? So who is appointed as the Joint Secretary in Ministry of Cooperation? The answer is Abhay Kumar Singh. So Abhay Kumar Singh, an IAS from the Bihar cadre, so he was appointed as the Joint Secretary in Ministry of Cooperation. So this cooperation ministry was launched mainly to strengthen the cooperative movement in India, and the current Minister of Cooperation is Amit Shah. So do remember all these points. So next, RBI has reappointed Sandeep Bakshi as the MD CEO of which bank? So RBI has reappointed Sandeep Bakshi as the MD and CEO of which bank? The answer is ICICI Bank. So Sandeep Bakshi is the new MD and CEO of ICICI Bank. So earlier Chanda Kochar was the CEO. She resigned due to the ICICI Videocon loan controversy. So now Sandeep Bakshi is reappointed. Earlier he was appointed in 2018. Now again he is reappointed in 2021. He will continue till 2023. So ICICI Bank headquarters Mumbai, established in 1994. Okay, so do remember these points. Next, Carol Furtado has been appointed the interim CEO of which bank? Carol Furtado has been appointed as the interim CEO of Ujjivan Small Finance Bank. So Ujjivan Small Finance Bank has got its new CEO, Carol Furtado. So earlier Carol Furtado has acted as the officer on special duty, okay, and also the CEO of Ujjivan Financial Services. Now she will be the CEO of the Ujjivan Small Finance Bank, okay. So the appointment is yet to be approved by the RBI. So Ujjivan Small Finance Bank headquarters is in Bengaluru, established in 2004, okay. Remember all these points. So next, Hitendra Dev has been appointed the CEO of which bank? Hitendra Dev is the CEO of which bank? The answer is HSBC India, Hong Kong Shanghai Banking Corporation. So Hitendra Dev is the CEO of Hong Kong Shanghai Banking Corporation, okay. So RBI has approved his appointment. So he will be the CEO for next 3 years starting from August 24. Okay, so please remember all these points. So also remember about HSBC Bank India headquarters is in Mumbai, established in 1853. So the bank was established in 1853. Okay, so next, who has been appointed as the chairperson of Stop TB Partnership Board? So who is the chairperson of Stop TB Partnership Board? The answer is Mansukh Mandavia. Yesterday only we discussed. Answer is Mansukh Mandavia. So Union Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia has been appointed the chairperson of the Stop TB Partnership Board. So earlier it was Dr. Harshvardhan who is the chairperson. Now Mansukh Mandavia will be the chairperson of Stop TB Partnership Board. And India aims to end TB by 2025 and UN aims to end TB by 2030. So yesterday only we discussed all these points. So Stop TB Partnership is a UN program mainly to fight against tuberculosis. So vice chairman was also appointed, and the new vice chairman of the Stop TB Partnership Board is Austin Ahrens Obifuno. So he is a vice chairman and the chairman is Mansukh Mandavia. Okay, so do remember all these points. And the Stop TB Partnership Board established in 2001, headquarters is in Geneva, Switzerland. Now we will go into schemes and committees. We have just 3 questions in this section. So first one, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has launched Ubarte Sitare Fund. Ubarte Sitare Fund. So for export oriented firms and startups. So Ubarte Sitare Fund was set up by which of the following? Ubarte Sitare Fund was set up by which of the following? Answer will be both A and B here, because Exim Bank and Small Industries Development Bank, both of them established this Ubarte Sitare Fund. So Union Minister has announced this fund mainly to strengthen the export oriented firms and startups. This program was launched in Lucknow. So funds will be arranged for promotion of the MSME, micro, small, medium scale industries. So fund was set up by Exim Bank with the help of IDBI. So UP will be the largest beneficiary because there are highest number of MSMEs in UP. Okay, so this is about Ubarte Sitare Fund. So Exim Bank, Export Import Bank of India, established 1982, headquarters Mumbai. SIDBI, Small Industries Development Bank of India, established 1990, headquarters is in Lucknow. Okay, so do remember all these points. So next, Yuktadara is a portal to plan for new MNREGA, Manrega projects using remote sensing and GIS based information. So this portal was launched by which organization? Yuktadara portal was launched by which organization? The answer is ISRO. So ISRO has launched Yuktadara portal, so in collaboration with the Ministry of Rural Development. So the Ministry of State Independent Charge for Science and Technology, Jitendra Singh, has launched this geospatial planning portal called Yuktadara, where they are enabled to plan the new Manrega assets using remote sensing and GIS based information. Okay, so please remember about Yuktadara, very very important. So we'll go into next program called Samriddhi. We'll go into next program called Samriddhi. Samriddhi program was launched by which ministry to boost this startup system in India? So Samriddhi program was launched by the Ministry of Electronics and IT. So Ministry of Electronics and IT has launched this Samriddhi program, okay, which is abbreviated as Startup Accelerators for the Ministry of Electronics and IT for product innovation, development and growth. Okay, so this Samriddhi program is a platform for Indian software product startups to enhance their products and secure investments for scaling their business. Okay, so this is implemented by the Mighty Startup Hub. So where 300 startups will be provided customer connect, investor connect and international immersion. So investments up to 40 lakh will be provided to startups, and the new Minister of Electronics and IT is Ashwini Vaishnaw. Okay, so please remember all these points. So please remember all these points. Now we'll go into summits and conferences. We'll see all the important summits and conferences. We have 4 questions in this section in this week. So the theme of World Economic Forum Sustainable Development Impact Summit 2021. What is the theme of the World Economic Forum Sustainable Development Impact Summit 2021? The answer is shaping an inevitable, inclusive, sustainable recovery. Shaping an equitable, inclusive, sustainable recovery. So World Economic Forum Sustainable Development Impact Summit to be held from September 20 to 23 in Geneva, Switzerland. So the theme for this year is shaping an equitable, inclusive and sustainable recovery. So the meeting will have 4 important areas to discuss. They are revitalizing economies, advancing a inclusive recovery, scaling up climate action and shaping future food systems. So World Economic Forum established in 1971 by Klaus by Klaus Schwab in 1971. So in 1987 it was renamed World Economic Forum. Earlier it was called the European Management Forum. The main aim of the World Economic Forum is to improve the state of the world by engaging business, political, economic and other leaders of society to shape global, regional and industry agendas, headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland. Okay, so please remember these points. So few reports will be released by World Economic Forum every year. They are Global Competitiveness Index, Gender Gap Index, Risk Index and Travel and Tourism Index. So please remember all these points. So next, the 11th meeting of BRICS high representatives responsible for national security was held. So name the national security of India who chaired the meeting. So who is the national security of India? The answer is Ajit Doval. Ajit Doval is the national security advisor of India. So he is the chairman of the meeting of the BRICS high representatives responsible for national security. Okay, so 15th BRICS summit to be held in September 2021. So this BRICS summit is mainly to strengthen the of NSA, National Security Advisor, is to strengthen the political security cooperation. Okay, so they adopted a BRICS counter-terrorism action plan also. So NSA Ajit Doval and other high officials have discussed Afghanistan, the developments of Iran, West Asia and Gulf regions. So all these discussions happened in the security advisors meeting. Okay, so mainly to strengthen, to fight against terrorism, to fight against the misuse of internet, curbing the travel of terrorists, border controls, protection of soft targets, information sharing, capacity building, international cooperation. All these things were discussed, okay, in this meeting. Okay, now we will discuss about BRICS. So BRICS is an acronym of Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. So in 2001, British economist Jim O'Neill, so he coined the word BRIC, which is Brazil, Russia, India, China, the emerging economies. Later in 2006, it was formalized. So in 2010, South Africa joined the BRIC nations. Now it is called BRICS. Okay, so BRICS have their own bank called the New Development Bank or BRICS Bank, established in 2014 and headquarters is in Shanghai, China. Okay, so please remember all these points. So next question is about G20. So G20 Ministerial Conference on Women Empowerment, okay, was held by which country? So G20 Ministerial Conference on Women Empowerment, okay, conference was held by which country? The answer is Italy. So Italy organized this meeting. Okay, so this happened in Santa Margherita Ligure in Italy. So the first G20 Ministerial Conference on Women Empowerment. So this was held in mixed format where people can participate physically or by video conference. So from Indian side, the Union Minister of Women and Child Development, Smriti Zubin Irani, she participated in the event. She reaffirmed India's commitment towards gender and women-centric issues through mutual cooperation. So this G20 conference aims to share responsibilities to advance the goals of equality, development of women and children in all spheres, including STEM, financial, digital literacy, environment and sustainability. Okay, so let us discuss about G20. So this year G20 president is Italy. They are coming with 3 pillars: people, planet or prosperity. So G20 is made up of 19 countries and European Union, which was established in 1999, and 2008 onwards they are meeting once in a year. mainly the heads of the government or state, finance minister, foreign minister, high ranking officials, they generally meet once in a year. Okay, so these are the list of 19 countries. Please check out, please by heart this list, very very important. So next, SVEEP consultation workshop, okay, was organized by which of the following? SVEEP workshop was organized by which of the following? The answer is Election Commission. So Election Commission of India has organized the systematic voter education and electoral participation consultation workshop. So as in this workshop, the Chief Election Commissioner Sushil Chandra and Election Commissioners Rajiv Kumar, Anup Chandra Pandey, so all these three personalities have participated. So it's a 2-day workshop mainly to revive the plans, to extend the deliberations on important aspects, to formulate a strategy for further elections, and also for voter education and awareness. This particular program was launched. Okay, so new voters are currently provided a personal letter, voter ID cards, a guide, and a pledge for ethical voting. So let us discuss about Election Commission of India, which is an autonomous constitutional authority responsible for union and state election processes. They conduct election for Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, state legislative assemblies, office of the president and vice president in India. Okay, so it was established in 1950, headquartered Delhi, and the first election commissioner is Sukumar Sen. Okay, so please remember all these points. Now we will go into awards news. We hardly have only 2 awards. Sri Basava International Award was given to which of the is given by which of the following state? Sri Basava International Award is given by which of the following state? The answer is Karnataka. So Karnataka state government has announced Sri Basavalinga Pattadevaru, who is the sheer of the Balki Hirimat. So he was awarded the Basava International Award. So he was awarded mainly for his charitable establishments, spreading the news of Basaveshwara and different Sharanas of the 12th century. So he launched a baby rescue center and adoption center way back 18 years ago in Bidar district. So he is very famous because he nearly adopted 75 youngsters, and now this Hiramat, this house has nearly 20 youngsters who can be adopted anytime. So this center was established in 2003. Okay, so for all his contributions towards child development, towards providing spiritual knowledge, so he was given the award. Okay, Sri Basava International Award to Basavalinga Pattadevaru. Okay, so Chief Minister of Karnataka Basavaraj Bommai, Governor of Karnataka Tawa Chand Gehlot. Okay, so do remember all these points. So next question, who topped the Easy Reforms Index Award 2021? So which bank topped the Easy Reforms Index 2021? The answer is State Bank of India. So State Bank of India has topped the awards. So Finance Minister has announced the awards, and she also mentioned that the public sector banks reported a profit of 31,000 crore after 5 years gap. Okay, so last year also the loss for banks is 26,000, but this year the bank has a profit of nearly 31,000 crores. So State Bank is the overall winner, and here is the big list of winners in every theme. So theme wise also they gave awards, 5 awards, and top bank in the index is State Bank of India. So top bank in March, top bank in improvement is Indian Bank. Okay, theme wise also you have all the banks. You can study this table, very very important for all the upcoming bank examinations. This table is very very important, so please go through this table. So next is the business news. We will see the business news. So name the artificial intelligence enabled chatbot launched by Bharat Petroleum Corporation Limited to provide seamless self-service experience and faster resolution of queries. So BPCL, Bharat Petroleum Corporation Limited, has launched a chatbot. What is the name of the chatbot? The answer is Urza. So Urza is the name of the chatbot. So BPCL has launched this chatbot. So mainly to provide customers an interface for the seamless self-service experience and faster resolution of queries. Okay. So this chatbot is an intelligent virtual assistant with AI and NLP. Okay. So natural language processing capabilities, which is trained on 600 cases. Okay. So this virtual assistant will offer you services like LPG booking, price and payment status, delivery status of booked LPG gas, refill history. It will allow the users to change their distributors, update their mobile numbers, all request services. You can locate petrol pumps, it can provide delivery of fuel. All these things can be done by this BPCL AI enabled boot Urza. Okay, so Urza is a part of Project Anubhav. So Project Anubhav is mainly to provide all these seamless customer services. Okay, so this is about Urza. We'll see about BPCL. So BPCL is a domestic LPG and petroleum company. Okay, so they have a domestic LPG customer base of 8.5 crore, 6,000 distributors, 19,000 petrol pumps. Okay, so this is about BPCL. So BPCL headquarters Mumbai, established in 1952. Okay, now we will go into the next important news MCQ, where the finance minister has signed a $500 million loan with Indian government to expand the metro network in Bengaluru. So they have signed with financial body. So a financial body in India has signed a $500 million loan with the Indian government to expand the metro rail network in Bengaluru. So which bank it is? So the answer is Asian Development Bank. So with Asian Development Bank, this particular loan agreement was done by India to develop the rail network in Bengaluru. So a 56-kilometer rail network will be developed in Bengaluru to provide safe, affordable green mobility, to enhance the quality of life, sustainable growth in the habitat and livelihood opportunities. This particular metro rail network will help a lot. Now we'll discuss about Asian Development Bank. Established in 1966 and headquartered in Manila, Philippines. Currently has 67 members from the Asia Pacific region, and Japan has the largest share of 15%, then comes USA, then comes China, then comes India. Okay, so the aim of the ADB bank is for social development by reducing poverty in the Asia Pacific region, okay, with the inclusive growth, sustainable growth and regional integration. So they provide 80% of their loans for public sector management, public sector works. Okay, they invest in infrastructure, health, public administration, and help nations to reduce the impact of climate change and manage the natural resources. So next question, 12% Club app was launched by which fintech firm? 12% Club app was launched by which fintech firm? The answer is BharatPe. Okay, so 12% Club app was launched by BharatPe. So BharatPe in collaboration with the Lend Club. So both of them launched the 12% Club app. So where consumers can invest and earn up to 12% interest rate, and they can borrow loans even at 12% interest rate. So BharatPe is aimed at bringing assets under management of 100 million by 2022, and also 50 million lending assets under management by 2022. Okay, so here consumers in this app, they can invest their savings anytime by choosing to lend money. Okay, so initially upper limit is 10 lakh, later it will be extended to 50 lakh. So customers also can get collateral free loans of 10 lakh at a 12% interest for 3 months. Okay, so please remember all these points. So BharatPe headquarters are New Delhi, established 2018. Lend Club is a peer-to-peer lending platform, mainly to provide credit easily available, make the credit easily available. It is an intermediary between lenders and credit-worthy borrowers. So it is an interface between borrower and lender. So headquartered in Mumbai, established in 2014. So please remember all these points. Okay, now we'll see the banking news. Okay, we'll see 3 important questions are there in this banking news. Let us see the banking news. Who is the chairman of the panel appointed by RBI who suggested 4-tier structure for urban cooperative banks? So who is the chairman of the panel appointed by RBI who suggested 4-tier structure for urban cooperative banks? The answer is N.S. Viswanathan. So N.S. Viswanathan is an RBI appointed committee mainly to suggest about the cooperative system. So he suggested a 4-tier system for urban cooperative banks depending on the deposits and prescribed different capital adequacy and regulatory norms. So he also suggested a minimum capital to risk weighted asset to be between 9 to 15%. Okay, so the RBI also panel also prescribed separate ceilings for house loans, loans against gold ornaments and unsecured loans. So in February, RBI has appointed this expert committee under N.S. Viswanathan chairmanship. So they gave all these above suggestions. So he suggested that RBI can divide the urban cooperative banks into 4 tiers, and these are the tiers: tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, with the different deposits time scale margin. Okay, so please check out this table. So RBI Governor Shaktikant Das, headquarters Mumbai, established 1935. You know this; it's very common. So now Indian government has approved a increase in the family pension of bank employees to what percentage of the salary last drawn? So Indian government has approved an increase in the family pension of bank employees. To what percentage of last drawn salary? The answer is 30%. So Indian government has approved the Indian Banks Association proposal to increase the family pension, and now the family pension is increased to 30% of the last salary drawn. Okay, there is also an increase in the pension contributions by bank under the national pension system. So earlier both bank and employer, so both of them used to contribute, bank and employee. Okay, so both of them used to contribute 10%. Now bank will contribute 15%, only employee will contribute 10%. Okay, so bank will provide 14%, sorry, it's not 14, not 15, and employee will provide 10% to the NPS system. So these are all the benefits for bank employees. So now Indian Banks Association, a representative body of the management of banking in India. Okay, they were formed for the development, coordination, strengthening of the banking system, to assist the member banks in various ways, including implementation of new system, adaptation of the standards among people. So Indian Banks Association headquartered Mumbai, established in 1946. Okay, so do remember all these points. Okay, so next question, very important question. So RBI has extended the scope of tokenization to consumer devices like laptop, desktops, wearables, IoTs. So the ultimate responsibility of card tokenization services is rendered with. The ultimate responsibility of card tokenization services is rendered with the authorized card payment network. We discussed in the detailed analysis. If you check out, you will definitely get the answer. We discussed in the detailed analysis. Okay, it is authorized card payment networks. So now we will see about this in detail. Okay, so RBI earlier gave a tokenization system. Now this system was extended to laptops, desktops, wearable wristwatch and bands, and Internet of Things devices. What is tokenization? Tokenization is mainly to improve the safety and security of the payment system. So the details of the original card will be replaced with a unique alternate code called token. So this will help in saving your personal details. Okay, so this earlier this tokenization system was available only in mobile phones and tablets. Now we extended to laptops, desktops, wearables and IoT devices. Okay, so this initiative is mainly to strengthen, to make transactions more safe, secure and convenient. So in 2019, RBI has issued guidelines permitting the authorized card payment networks to offer these tokenization systems. Okay, so please remember all these points. Now we will go into economy news. We have two questions in this economy news. So first question, RBI has recently announced the inclusion of the beneficiaries of which scheme under the PIDF scheme. So RBI has announced the beneficiaries of which scheme under the PIDF scheme. The answer is PM Swanidhi. So the beneficiaries of PM Swanidhi are now included in the PIDF, Payment Infrastructure Development Fund scheme. Okay, so under PM Swanidhi, street vendors who operate in tier 1 and tier 2 cities can be joined in this scheme. Okay, so let us discuss about PIDF scheme. So PIDF scheme was launched by RBI in 2021 in the month of January. So mainly to set up point of sale infrastructure, okay, in the tier 3 to tier 6 and northeastern regions. So now this scheme will include street vendors who were identified under the Pradhan Mantri Street Vendors Atmanirbhar Nidhi in tier 1 and tier 2 cities. Okay, so this particular Payment Infrastructure Development Fund is launched mainly to increase the acceptance channel to keep pace with the issues. So people generally in India are accustomed to use of fiscal money. So this particular program will create nearly 30 lakh touch points every year for digital payments. So they will ensure that the ecosystem grows together on issuance, card network and acquiring side. So this will also help for the digitalization of payments, and a total of 345 crores were allotted to this particular program, PIDF program. So next question. So Ministry of Finance has notified the Enhanced Access and Service Excellence EASE 4.0. What is the theme of the edition EASE 4.0? What is the theme of the latest edition of EASE 4.4? The answer is Tech Enabled, Simplified and Collaborative Banking. Tech Enabled, Simplified and Collaborative Banking. So Nirmala Sitharaman has unveiled the public sector bank reforms agenda. Okay, so according to this reforms agenda, the main theme is Service Enabled, Simplified Collaborative Banking. So EASE abbreviates to Enhanced Access and Service Excellence. Okay, So his main agenda is to further the agenda of customer centric digital transformation and deeply embedded digital and data. Okay, it is mainly to transform all the public sector banks into digital banks and offer industry best customer service in the country. And these are all the initiatives under the East to 4.0 program. Okay, so do remember all these points. You can check this table. Now we will go into agreement news. We have 3 questions in this agreement news. So first one, HDFC Bank. HDFC Bank has recently tied with which company to build comprehensive solutions across payment gateway like point of sale machines, credit products. HDFC Bank has tied up with which of the following to build comprehensive solutions? The answer is Paytm. So Paytm and HDFC Bank, both of them are partnering to provide solutions across payment gateway, point of sale machines and credit products. So Paytm Postpaid will also be included in this scheme. Buy now, pay later, easy EMI, flexi pay, all these features will be available in this product. Okay, so this partnership will enhance the startup solutions to the market. Okay, which will provide integrated one-stop solution for all the business needs. So HDFC Bank will focus on the point of sale machines also. Okay, so this is about the program. So HDFC Bank headquarters Mumbai, established in 1994. Paytm headquarters Noida, Paytm established in 2010. So now we'll go into next question. So where Women and Entrepreneurship Platform WEP Next was launched by Niti Aayog in partnership with which company? So Women Entrepreneurship Program was launched by Niti Aayog with which of the following company? The answer is Cisco. So with the help of Cisco, Niti Aayog has launched the Women Entrepreneurship Platform. Okay. So this Women Entrepreneurship Platform was launched by Niti Aayog in 2017. So it's a unique portal, okay, to bring all the women from diverse backgrounds to offer them access to a multitude of resources, support and learning. Okay. So the Women Entrepreneurship Program, so it's a next phase of the Women Entrepreneurship Next platform is the next phase of the program called WEP. So this will provide enhanced evidence-based decision making, a focused study on Indian women entrepreneurs, okay, and to provide them with the necessary requirements. So please remember Cisco headquarters San Jose, California, okay, and established in 1984. Niti Aayog established in 2015. Headquarters New Delhi. Chairperson Narendra Modi. Vice Chairperson Rajiv Kumar and CEO is Amitabh Kant. Okay, we already discussed all these points about Niti Aayog. So Women Entrepreneurship Platform, so launched in 2017. The main aim of the platform is to improve industry links and awareness about the existing programs and services and to provide women more access to peer support, learning resources, fundraising activities and mentorship. Okay, so the main aim of the program is to provide one-stop solution for all the information and services that are relevant to women entrepreneurs. So currently we have 16,000 registers with 30 partners. Okay, and according to the 6th economic census, 13% of the total entrepreneurs are women. And according to the report, 8 million out of 58 million are entrepreneurs in women. So very less number, we need to increase this. So next question, how much amount was approved by India as line of credit to be funded for Greater Mali connectivity project? So how much money is allocated by India for this Greater Mail connectivity project in Maldives? The answer is 400 million US dollars. So 400 million US dollars amount was allotted by India as line of credit to the Greater Mail connectivity project in Maldives. Okay, so an agreement happened between India and Maldives. So this is the largest civil infrastructure project in Maldives. So India will provide 400 million line of credit and 100 million grant. So this 400 million loan will be provided by the Export Import Bank. And this project will be constructed by Indian company itself. It's Afcons. It's an engineering and construction company, okay, which is based in Mumbai. So Greater Mail project will have a 6.74 kilometer road, which will connect the national capital Mail with 3 other neighboring islands. So capital of Maldives, Mail, capital of Maldives, currency is Maldivian Rupiah. Currency is Maldivian Rupiah. Okay. So please remember all these points. Now we will go to defense news. Okay, so 5 important defense news are there. We will see the defense news. Please check the question. Please check the question. So Zair al-Bar. So it's an exercise between Indian Navy and which of the following navy? So the answer is Qatar. So Jair al-Bar is an exercise between Indian Navy and Qatar Navy. So both of them have participated in this exercise, which was held from August 9 to 14 in the Persian Gulf. Okay. So Qatar capital Doha, Qatar currency Qatari Riyal. Okay. So do remember these points. So quickly we'll see all the exercises. So India Kazakhstan joint training exercise called Kazin 21 was which edition this year? So India Kazakhstan Kazin is which edition this year? It is the 5th edition. So it is the 5th edition of Kazin exercise. So this was held in Aisha Bibi, Kazakhstan, mainly to boost the bilateral relations between India and Kazakhstan. So remember Kazakhstan capital Nur Sultan and Kazakhstan currency Kazakhstani tens. Okay, so do remember these points. So next, International Military and Technical Forum Army 2021 was organized in which country? So International Military and Technical Forum Army 2021 was launched in which country? It is organized in which country? It is in Russia. So every year Russia will organize this meeting. So this year it is the 7th edition of the International Military Technical Forum. So Russia since 2014 is organizing this particular expo, defense expo. India also participated. So Russia capital Moscow, Russia currency ruble. India also participated in this exercise where 11 products were showcased which has a capability of being exported. So where DRDO, BDL, BEML, Ordnance Factory, all these organizations have participated in this expo, and our 11 products, Astra missile, Nag missile, Helena missile, Akash, Tejas aircraft, early warning system, identification of friend and foe, advanced gun, artillery gun system, protective carbine, main battle tanker, all this Arjun battle tanker, Rohini radar, Atulya radar, all these products were showcased in the expo by India. Okay, so International Maritime Technical Forum Army 2021, which edition this is? You know the answer is 7th edition. Okay, we already discussed. So now coming to last question in this section, name the National Counter-Terrorist Mock Exercise carried by Counter-Terrorist Force NSG, National Security Guards. So what is the counter-terrorism mock drill conducted by the National Security Guards named? It is Gandhi. So Gandhi is the bow of Arjuna. Okay, so the 3rd edition was held by NSG. So it was held from 22nd to 28th August in multiple cities, mainly to check the response time and reaction to hostage and hijack like situations by NSG. So Gandhi is an Arjuna's bow in Mahabharata. So the drills are conducted to validate the planning parameters of the commando force. So NSG was raised in 1986 to undertake surgical commando operations in order to neutralize the terrorist and hijack threats. They also provide security cover for 13 high-risk VVIPs. So it is under the control of the Ministry of Home Affairs. They are generally called the Black Cats, formed in 1986 after the National Security Guard Act 1986, following Operation Blue Star, Golden Temple attack, assassination of the Indian Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, for combating terrorist activities and protecting states against internal disturbances. So NSG headquarters is in New Delhi, and NSG motto is Sarvatra Sarvottam Suraksha. Okay, so let us see the ranks and reports. We'll see the important ranks and reports. So New Delhi is the 48th safe city in the world as per the Safe Cities Index 2021. So which ranks 60 global cities for the level of urban safety. The index is released by which organization? Okay, so New Delhi is the 40th safe city in the world as per the Safe Cities Index 2021. So just a minute. Okay, so please check the answer. So New Delhi is the 48th safe city in the world as per Safe Cities Index 2021. So this index is released by which of the following organization? So Safe Cities Index is launched by which of the following organization? The answer is Economist Intelligence Unit. So Economist Intelligence Unit has launched this Safe Cities Index, and in this Safe Cities Index, the capital city of Denmark, Copenhagen. So Copenhagen, the capital city of Denmark, is the world's safest city, and the least safest city is Yangon. So Yangon in Myanmar is the least safest city. Copenhagen, the capital city of Denmark, is the world's safest city according to the Economist Intelligence Unit. Okay, so this in this list from India, New Delhi and Mumbai were ranked at 48th position and 50th position. So New Delhi was ranked at 48, Mumbai was ranked at 50. Okay, so this index was first released in 2015. So in 2021, the cities were ranked based on 46 indicators across 5 broad pillars like digital, health, infrastructure, personal and environmental. So environmental security is a new addition in this year, and they are ranked on the scale of 0 to 100. So 0 to 25 is low safety, 75 to 100 is very high safety cities. Okay, so world's top 5 cities as of now are Copenhagen, first rank, second rank Toronto, third is Singapore, 4 Sydney, 5 is Tokyo. Okay, so please remember all these points. Finally, about Economist Intelligence Unit, this is a research and analysis division of the Economist Group, which will provide advisory forecasting services to all the countries and companies. Established in 1946 and headquarters is in London. So now coming to which city has topped the Safe Cities Index. We already discussed which city has topped the Safe Cities Index. The answer is Copenhagen. Okay, so Copenhagen, the capital city of Denmark, is the top in the Safe Cities Index 2021. So next, what is the rank of India in Cushman Wakefield 2021 Global Manufacturing Risk Index? So what is the rank of India in Cushman and Wakefield 2021 Global Manufacturing Risk Index? So the rank is second rank. So the rank of India is second. So India has emerged in the second in the Global Manufacturing Risk Index. Okay, so this index shows the growing interest in India by the manufacturers. So India is now the preferred manufacturing hub. So this index ranks 47 countries across Europe, America and Asia Pacific. So they rank based on factors like risk and cost factor, political economic risk and market conditions and labor cost. So Cushman and Wakefield Public Limited Company, established in 1917 and headquarters is in Chicago, Illinois. So they provided this Global Manufacturing Risk Index and India emerged second. So please remember these points. Next, which ministry has launched the 100-day campaign called Sujalam? So which ministry has launched the 100-day campaign called Sujalam? So the answer is Ministry of Jal Shakti. So Ministry of Jal Shakti has launched the 100-day campaign called Sujalam to create more and more ODF plus villages by undertaking wastewater management at the village level. So Ministry of Jal Shakti has launched this 100-day campaign called Sujalam to create more and more ODF plus villages by undertaking the wastewater management at village level. Okay, the target of the program is to revive the water bodies through 1 million soak pits and grey water management activities. So this campaign was launched on August 25th as a part of the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav celebrations, and 3 focus areas of this Sujalam campaign will be construction of 1 million soak pits, retrofitting of toilets, access to toilets for new households. So please remember the Minister of Jal Shakti, Gajendra Singh Shekhawat. So do remember all the ministers, very important for all your examinations. So next question is about where the East Sikkim has topped the Northeast Region District Sustainable Development Goal Index. So this index was launched by whom? So yesterday a lot of people have got confused. This index was launched by Niti Aayog in collaboration with the Ministry of Development of Northeast Region and United Nations Development Program. So answer will be all of the above. So answer here is all of the above. So the Northeast Region District Sustainable Development Goal Index was launched by Niti Aayog, Ministry of Development of Northeast Region and United Nations Development Program. So all the 3 have launched this particular index. Okay, so please remember, so please check this question, very important. All the 3 are answers. Okay, so this index is based on the Niti Aayog Sustainable Development Goals India Index. So East Sikkim has topped the index, and Kipri district of Nagaland is the last in the index. Second rank went to Gomiti in North Tripura. Third rank went to West Tripura. So please check all the districts, very important. So this index will measure the performance of districts of the 8 states in Northeastern region. Mainly their performance will be based on how they are promoting and achieving the sustainable development goals. Okay, so please remember all these points about Niti Aayog, established 2015, headquarters New Delhi, chairperson Narendra Modi, vice chairperson Rajiv Kumar, and CEO is Amitabh Kant. Okay, So next section we'll see science and technology. We have two important questions in science and technology. First question, NeoBolt is India's first indigenous motorized wheelchair. So this is developed by which IIT? So NeoBolt is developed by which IIT? The answer is IIT Madras. So IIT Madras has launched the NeoBolt. Okay, it's a first indigenous developed motorized wheelchair. So this can travel both on roads and uneven surfaces. It can travel at a maximum speed of 25 km, and this particular machine, motorized wheelchair, was created by taking all the ideas, suggestions from the persons with the disabilities. Okay, so it is currently at a cost of 55,000. So it's a battery operated machine which can travel 25 km per charge. So it's very convenient, safe and low cost mode of outdoor mobility. So India currently it imports India currently sales nearly 3 lakh wheelchairs, of which 2.5 lakh are imported from outside the world, because outside foreign products have a lot of features, so they are very expensive. So that is why IIT Madras has launched this product, which is less expensive, which is very cheaper than all the foreign products. Okay, so please remember, so this NeoBolt motorized wheelchair was launched by IIT Madras, mainly by the Center for Rehabilitation Research and Device Development, okay, which is a hub of IIT, and this will be commercialized by the commercialized startup NeoMotion. So now coming to next question, the last question in this section. So Mathan 2021 is a national hackathon launched by the Bureau of Police Research and Development in collaboration with which of the following organizations? So the Bureau of Police Research and Development, so they are collaborating with which of the following organization to launch the national hackathon called Mathan 2021. The answer is All India Council for Technical Education, AICTE. So AICTE and Bureau of Police Research and Development, so both of them launched the national hackathon, India's first hackathon, Mathan 2021, mainly to identify innovative concepts, technology solutions for the security challenges faced by our the enforcement forces, the intelligence forces. So you need to provide solutions for the challenges faced by these intelligence agencies. Okay, so this will be held from 20th November to 1st December. Winning team will be achieving 40 lakh per cash prize. There are total 6 teams, 20 different challenges where you can use technologies like artificial intelligence, deep learning, machine learning, augmented realities, and you need to provide solutions. So we'll discuss about the Bureau of Police Research and Development, established in 1970 mainly for a modernization of police forces, headquartered in New Delhi. All India Council for Technical Education, you know, it's a statutory body mainly for the development of national level technical education, established in 1945. So for proper planning, coordination, development of technical education in India, and headquartered in New Delhi. Okay, so remember all these points. So quickly we'll see all the books and authors. So just remember the book and the name of the author. That's it, enough for your examination. So the first book, Address Book, a publishing memoir in the time of COVID. So this is authored by whom? Address Book, a publishing memoir in the time of COVID, is authored by Ritu Menon. So Ritu Menon is the author of the book. So please remember, Address Book, a publishing memoir in the time of COVID. The answer is Ritu Menon. The next book, Battlefield, is authored by which of the following? So Battlefield is authored by Vishram Badekar. So Vishram Badekar is the author of the Battlefield, and this was translated into English by Jerry Pinto. So this book is authored in Marathi by Vishram Badekar, translated into English by Jerry Pinto. So Mission Domination and Unfinished Quest is authored by two authors. One is Boria Mazumdar, the next one is Kushan Sarkar. So the answer is A and B. So the book Mission Domination Unfinished Quest is authored by Boria Mazumdar and Kushan Sarkar. Okay, so please remember. Next, who is the author of the book Accelerating India 7 Years of Modi Government? We already discussed this question earlier. The answer is KJ Alphonse. So ex-Union Minister KJ Alphonse is the author of the book Accelerating India 7 Years of Modi Government. Okay. Now quickly we'll see the sports news. We have 3 important sports news. So who won silver medal in the long jump in the World Athletics Under 20 Championships 2021? So who is the Indian who won the silver medal in long jump in the World Athletics Under 20 Championships 2021? The answer is Shaili Singh. So Shaili Singh of India, she won silver medal in the World Athletics Under 20 Championships, and India finished 21st in the medal table. So this 2021 edition was held in Nairobi, Kenya. So next year 2022 edition will be held in Colombia. Okay, so Shaili Singh is the third medalist. Earlier medals were won by the mixed team in relay and Amit Katre in the men's 10,000 meter race walk. So the World Athletics Under 20 is a biennial world championship, so which is organized by World Athletics mainly for under 20 athletes age category. Okay, so next question, Princepal Singh is the first Indian to be part of which of the following teams? So Princepal Singh is a part of which of the following teams? He is a part of National Basketball Association title. So Princepal Singh, the first Indian to win a NBA title. So he is a part of this Sacramento Kings team. Okay, so this team won the National Basketball Association Championship in the Summer League in Las Vegas. So earlier, Satnam Singh from Punjab, so he is the first Indian to play an NBA for Dallas Mavericks. Now Princepal Singh, he is playing for the Sacramento teams. So this team won the NBA title. Okay, so please remember about NBA. So NBA is a summer league. It's a competition held by the National Basketball Association in Las Vegas, Nevada, in the campus of University of Nevada, Las Vegas. So this team, Sacramento Kings, they have won the title this year. Okay, so they are based in California. So next question, so who was selected as the new flag bearer for India in the opening ceremony of Tokyo Paralympics? So who is the flag bearer in the Tokyo Paralympics? The answer is Tek Chand. So Tek Chand is the new flag bearer of Tokyo Paralympics. So Mariyappan Thangavelu, he contacted a COVID patient in the flight journey to Tokyo. So he was quarantined. So instead of instead of Mariyappan Thangavelu, so Tek Chand was the flag bearer for the opening ceremony of Paralympics. Okay, so do remember this question, very very important, because Tokyo 2020 Paralympics will be in news. We'll discuss about this Tokyo Paralympics, which was held from August 24 to September 5th, where India has sent the largest contingent this year, 54 para athletes who will participate in 9 sport disciplines. Okay, so we need to discuss about Paralympics, so please remember about Paralympics. So quickly we'll discuss all the important days. So let us see the day and the theme. That's it. Very important is day and the theme. So World Sanskrit Day is observed on which festival? So World Sanskrit Day is observed on the festival of Raksha Bandhan. So on the day of Raksha Bandhan, World Sanskrit Day is celebrated in India. Okay, on Shravana Purnima, on the day of Shravana Purnima, Sanskrit Divas is celebrated. So this year in 2021 it is August 22nd, where Sanskrit Day is celebrated in India. So next question, the International Day commemorating the victims of act of violence based on religion or belief is celebrated on. So International Day commemorating the victims of acts of violence is observed on 22nd August. So 22nd August. Okay, so please remember. So next question, International Day for Remembrance of Slave Trade and its Abolition is observed on. International Day for Remembrance of Slave Trade and Abolition is observed on 23rd August. 23rd August. Okay, so please remember. The next question, World Water Week is observed on. World Water Week is observed on 23rd to 27th August. So World Water Week is observed on 23rd to 27th August. Okay, so the theme for this year is Building Resilience Faster. So please remember the theme. The theme for this year is Building Resilience Faster. So we have a question on this again. So the theme for World Water Week 2021 is Building Resilience Faster. The theme for the World Water Week 2021 is Building Resilience Faster. Okay, so next, Iconic Week is launched as a part of which of the following celebrations? Iconic Week is launched as a part of which of the following celebrations? The answer is Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. So Iconic Week is launched as a part of the celebrations of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. So Union Minister of IT and Broadcasting, Anurag Singh Thakur. So Union Minister of Information and Broadcasting, Anurag Singh Thakur. So he launched the Iconic Week, which is celebrated from August 23 to 29 as a part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav celebrations. Okay, so please remember. So International Dog Day is observed on. International Dog Day is observed on 26th August. So 26th August is the International Dog Day. So now we'll go into the next section, obituaries. So veteran Indian politician Kalyan Singh has passed away. He is the former Chief Minister of which of the following state? So Kalyan Singh is the former Chief Minister of which of the following state? The answer is Uttar Pradesh. So Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Kalyan Singh, so he recently passed away. So please check out the details about him. So Kalyan Singh is the former Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh who passed away recently. Om Nambayar passed away recently. So he is which of the following? So Om Nambayar, he is a famous athletics coach. So he is an athletics coach of PT Usha. So he passed away recently, Om Nambayar. Okay. So next question, comedian Shane Locke. So he passed away recently. So comedian Shane Locke belongs to which country? So he is a Britain. He belongs to Britain. So British comedian Shane Locke, he passed away recently. He is very famous for his show called The 8 out of the 10 Cats, and also he is very famous for his unique voice and his different shows like QI, Have I Got News for You, Big Fat Quiz of the Year. So he passed away recently. So British comedian Shane Locke. So next question, Syed Shahid Hakim, called Hakim Bhai. So he passed away recently. He belongs to which sport? Syed Hakim Bhai. He belongs to which sport? The answer is football. So he is a national level football player. So he passed away recently. So the last question. So Ted Dexter. So he passed away recently. Ted Dexter belongs to which cricket team in the world? So Ted Dexter belongs to England. So he's a former England captain. So Ted Dexter. So he passed away recently. So these are all the obituaries in this week. Now finally we'll go into the miscellaneous section. We'll see all the important miscellaneous questions in this week. So NTPC, National Thermal Power Corporation Limited, they launched India's largest floating solar PV project in which of the following city? So India's largest floating solar PV project was launched in Visakhapatnam. So in Visakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh, a 25 megawatt solar project was launched by NTPC. So this was launched in the 75 acres of the NTPC reservoir. Okay, so this will provide electricity nearly to 7,000 households. So 1 lakh solar panels were used in this project. So this project will eliminate it will eliminate 46,000 tons of carbon dioxide emissions. It will save 1,300 liters of water, and it will provide power to nearly 6,700 households. So NTPC established 1975, headquarters is in New Delhi. So this is very important question. You need to buy hard at any cost. So Indian government is evacuating its citizens from Taliban occupied Afghanistan. Now what is the operation, the name given to this operation? So what is the name given to this evacuation program in Afghanistan? The answer is Operation Devi Shakti. So Operation Devi Shakti is the name given to this evacuation program. So where Taliban recently they seized the entire control of Kabul city. So India started evacuating its citizens. So this operation is named Operation Devi Shakti. Okay. So next question, India's first sectorial index in agricultural commodities basket was launched by NCDEX, National Commodity Derivatives Exchange. So what is the name of this sectorial index called? So the name of the sectorial index is called GOREX. The name of the sectorial index is called GOREX. Okay. So India's first sectorial index in the agri commodities basket called GOREX was launched by the National Commodity and Derivatives Exchange Limited. So this GOREX is a price-based sectorial index which will track the movement in future contracts of the Gaur gum refined splits and Gaur seeds. Okay. So this will create a lot of opportunities for value chain, for improving the price of the product, which will help the increase in farmer income. Okay, so the weightage will be shared between seeds and splits. Seeds will be provided 63%, splits will be provided 37%, and India is the largest producer of this Gaur seeds. So you can see on the picture, it is called Gaur, mainly produced in Rajasthan. So 80 to 85% of the world Gaur seeds are produced in India, and nearly 80% are produced in Rajasthan. Okay, so please remember, very important. Now we'll see about National Commodities and Derivatives Index, which is an online commodity exchange dealing primarily in agricultural products, established in 2003 and headquartered in Mumbai. Okay, so the last question for today. So who is the new brand ambassador for Desh Ki Mentors program by Delhi government? So Delhi government has launched a program called Desh Ki Mentors. Who is the brand ambassador of this program? He is a very famous personality in the lockdown, and he is Sonu Sood. So Sonu Sood is the brand ambassador of Desh Ki Mentors program launched by Delhi government. So Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has announced this. So this program is mainly where citizens can adopt 1 to 10 students, government students, and they can mentor them. So every week they need to provide 10 minutes of their time to guide the students over phone. So interested citizens can adopt from 1 to 10 children, mainly from the city government schools. Okay. So this is called the Desh Ki Mentors program, and Sonu Sood is the brand ambassador. So Delhi CM Arvind Kejriwal, Delhi Governor, Lieutenant Governor Anil Baijal. Okay. So please remember all these points. So these are all the MCQs for today. So please subscribe our YouTube channel, like our videos, share our videos, and join the Telegram channel, because every day at 7 p.m. we have MCQ session, and every day 5 p.m. we have current affairs videos. So watch our current affairs videos in the YouTube channel, answer our MCQ session in the 7 p.m. in our Telegram channel, and download the Career Power Hyderabad app. We provide coaching for Bank, SSC, RRB as well as for SA Constable. So thank you students, we'll meet in the next session.